Okay, well, I'm super excited that we have two amazingly incredible, fantastic humanitarians that not only love and support each other, but they're here to love and support us and humanity. So please welcome Jen and Sarah, two amazing ladies.
Thank you.
I would love to hear from Jen about her unpacking the experience of these sessions with Sarah, and how did that all go? Because I can't even comprehend how that must have been. So I'd love to hear it from your perspective.
Definitely. It's been quite a journey with Sarah. We have actually known each other for almost a decade, I think, just about. We have children who are the same ages and they went to the same schools that I taught at. And we always kind of knew each other in our children's circles and were friendly with each other on the playground, but we never, ever got into past life regressions, anything that has to do with spirituality, anything of that nature whatsoever. It wasn't until 2017 that we had a Category 4 hurricane rip through our community and devastated it. And in that process, both of our homes were destroyed. And through the process of rebuilding our homes, I woke up one morning and I had lost most of the eyesight in my right eye. And skip forward a couple of months, I've gone to every specialist that I can go to in my area. I've taken all these medications. I've done all the treatments the doctors want me to do, and nothing is helping it. It turns out it was more than just a loss of vision. It was a neurological condition I had spontaneously developed. It's called Pseudotumor Cerebri, and it acts like a brain tumor where it presses up against your brain and fills these pockets of water all around your brain, essentially suffocating it and causing stroke and blindness and all kinds of fun things. So I had 3 small children. I had run out of ideas. My insurance was not going to go much further. And at this miraculous same time, Sarah was looking to further her journey in quantum healing hypnosis and asked me if I would like to sit and do a session with her. And I honestly, my whole life has turned around since then. I don't even remember who I was, honestly, from that point. So much has changed. So much has been given to me. And I am happy to say I see perfectly out of my eyes at this point. So I know something is working. And I think it's also important. I'd like to let Sarah also mention a little bit. She, as a quantum QHHT practitioner, had a whole process she was going through at the same time, trying to get her level 3. And I think she could explain a little bit better how this all coincided and met up. I think that's a good turning over point.
It was so funny because I was put on the spot to get a subject to become a level 3, and I needed somebody that wasn't going to pay me, so I could use their video submission to take it to the class. And I just felt like if I used somebody that maybe that I knew, they wouldn't pay me and I could just give them a session and it would be a nice experience. So I don't know why I asked Jen that day. It was just spontaneous. I just asked her, and I thought she was going to think I was crazy because we had never brought up the subject of spirituality. I never told her exactly what I did because I thought, well, she's a teacher, she's into academia. I don't know what she's gonna think about what I do. And when she said yes, that she had been looking for something like this, and she described her situation, I just thought, oh my gosh, this is really gonna work. I was really excited because I really wanted to help her. I think all healers want to help people so deeply at their core, and it's just exciting when they get the opportunity. But of course, with QHHT, I don't do the healing. I let the work actually help the person realize how to heal themselves. But after that first session, Jen noticed a difference right away.
100%. I felt unbelievable, just draining water, literally just draining from my cerebral area all down my spine. It was remarkable, truly.
Amazing.
And that in that session, we realized that there was a purpose for us to be together to uncover this information.
Truly, the further we went with our sessions, the more we just went so deep into these past lives that started to come out. I honestly had no experience with any of this before I met Sarah. I had never done any type of hypnosis. I'd never done anything within this kind of metaphysical realm. I had very little understanding of what Atlantis was. I had no idea what Lemuria was. So I think it was very interesting for Sarah to come into my life at this point and kind of open up this door for me and create this. I feel like it's been a jet that has whisked me out of this place of confusion and has really opened my eyes to this whole new understanding of who we are as people.
And I felt that's why Jen was such an ideal subject, because sometimes when I get people or clients that recount these certain lifetimes, I always wonder in the back of my mind if possibly they read a Dolores Cannon book. And so I would use the ones who didn't have this knowledge, just because I felt those were the most valid and I could trust that information the most.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey of that. And then when you understand this work more, you know, even if they had read all of Dolores's books, they're still not making it up in session because it's not even possible.
I know, of course. But I just, for some reason, just wanted to make sure. I was careful to go by every single word. I didn't put in my own stuff. And I just wanted to keep everything very valid.
Yeah.
Maybe just for myself.
Well,
Could be the reason.
I mean, we as practitioners grow with the work, and we need, even though we fully adore and love Dolores and respect her profoundly, we have to experience the authenticity of the content of the work profoundly for us to be able to have our own faith and belief systems of this work. I love it. Sorry. How hard was it, Jen, for you to be able to accept the content and still live as a professional woman and mother? Like, was there this duality of, I mean, how hard was it?
I think the first session, my first instinct right as I ended the session was, did I just make that all up? And the minute I walked out of her house and I could see straight again, I said, there's no way, that's impossible. Like, how is this happening? How is this happening? And then when I went home and I kept listening to the recordings that Sarah had given me of my session, I would listen to them, and every time I listened to the recording, it would have the same effect of just flushing of this water pulling out of my brain. It was remarkable. So the more and more I went into it, the easier it became to kind of accept this for what it is, the truth that's behind it, and the healing powers that it has. I definitely came from a skeptical background, but I go forward now knowing that this is something that has been hidden from people for a reason. And I think it's definitely time we start relooking at it.
Absolutely. It does take a lot of experiences, especially when it's your own experience as a client, for you to really realize, whoa, this is so valid. I am so excited to hear how, fast forward to 2021, how are you, what are you working on now, and how do you perceive the information that you've got? I know that it's really powerful for humanity at this time. What can you share with us about that?
It's really powerful. It's really important for humanity. And we're just collecting everything that they are giving us, basically. We try to meet weekly, and we're just uncovering so much information. And some of that I do share on my little YouTube channel. And we're just compiling another set of books, another set of companion books.
So exciting. Can you give us a little sneak insights into the content of that?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the ascension, and then there's a lot that's just picking up right where we left off. It's kind of like just picking up right where we left off, and it's something we are not researching at all. It's just coming to us.
Perfect. This seems like a beautiful beautiful relationship that just keeps evolving. And it must be so nice that you can support each other with the growth and content of this work, because it is hard to sometimes accept when it just seems so mind-bending.
I don't think this is actually the first time Sarah and I have tried to do this in one of our existences. I think this is probably one of the many numerous times we've attempted to do this throughout history. And I think this is the closest we've ever come to succeeding in getting this information out there. So I think this is a special time for not only just us, but for everybody involved. Anyone who reads this book, any books, anyone who is in touch with this kind of idea, I think the timing is perfect right now for a lot of this to start to resonate.
And it's amazing who is reading this. I just went to the dentist today, and the receptionist said that her husband read Jen's book, and he was interested in Atlantis because he said he's always had memories, and his wife thought he was crazy, but now she started to believe him, and he started reading Jen's book and he couldn't put it down. He read the whole thing like in one day. It changed him, she said. He's changed, so it's just so amazing.
My gosh.
And he's not the only one. I have heard from numerous people as well. People I wouldn't even have expected to contact me saying they read it and having the same kind of resonation. And then also sharing stories with me of dreams that they've had throughout their life that mimic some of the things that I saw in my sessions, that they could never understand what this was about, or why they've always had this resonation as like a half human hybrid or an animal person or living in Lemuria, the wave. It's unbelievable, the recognition that's starting to come out from people of all different spectrum.
And what's amazing is that people don't have to actually remember their own past life for this to create healing. And I know this because of my own experience, because one time Jen actually recounted a lifetime where my shoulder was dislocated. And I had this issue with my left shoulder for maybe 10 years, and I didn't really know why. And when she recounted this lifetime, I wasn't the one remembering it at all. My shoulder injury disappeared that next day. So I know that somebody can read these books and they will be changed and healed on levels they don't even know. So that's why I feel this is another important reason why I wanted to share, this information, because it's so healing.
It's incredible. That is so incredible. What a gift, what a blessing, because gosh, yes, I love that. I love that. And so in terms of how hard was it to share your experiences, knowing that you'd have to sort of be public with your experiences, and that worry of people thinking you could be crazy when we know we're not?
That was a huge issue for me, to be honest. It really was. I was afraid people, like the professional reputation I had built over the years, would be diminished by this. I was afraid people would look at me very differently, that family would no longer want to associate with me. I have 4 small children. I was also worried about how they'd look at me in the future writing something like this. And to be honest, I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I've freed myself from myself in doing this, because I think for many years I lived a life that looked good for people on the outside. I lived a life that kind of gave people this impression that I was in control of everything, but I don't think I was. And I don't think I ever really knew myself until now. And now that I have a better understanding of who I am and who I was, I don't feel the need to fit back into that conformity of depending on other people to give me that understanding of myself.
So self-empowered. I love it. It's so attractive. That's such what everyone wants, is that inner peace and that profound strength of oneself. Gosh.
It truly does build you back up, because I feel like after what we went through in the hurricane, and then after what I went through afterwards with regaining my health, it really does break you. It breaks you as a person in so many different ways. And to want to build yourself back up, but to do it in a way that is authentic, I think is such a key thing to do right now, not just for myself, but so many people out there that are going through so much. I can't even begin to get into what most people are probably going through. But I think right now, one of the bigger things to look at is, if we have to break it down and we have to kind of be more authentic, how is that going to benefit all of us? And I think it will, if we just go through with that.
It's about being honest with ourselves, how our feelings are, and sharing our feelings, and accepting each other's feelings and supporting each other, which is sometimes really hard when we can't even be honest with ourselves what's really eating at us. And as we all sort of feel like we have to pretend that we've got these amazing lives and that we're social media, all that fun stuff, that is the illusion that we project to our friends and family, and pretend. Anyway, in terms of where you feel humanity is going, what can you share with us?
Well, I have heard from so many different sessions, not just in Jen's session, that we're actually doing better. We're actually choosing better, and we're really going into this golden time. That it might not look like that right now because there's a huge awakening happening, but after this big initial shock, or whatever you want to call it, we're going into this golden age, this renaissance age of sorts. So the future seems very positive, and no matter where you end up, so to speak.
Yeah, it's all very purposeful and quite exciting when we don't buy into the fear of things.
Yes.
Exactly.
And now, Jen, while you've empowered yourself with the content, how does your family and friends view you? Was it how you feared or something else?
To be honest, I have been overwhelmed with the amount of people who've related to it. It was complete the opposite reaction. Instead of being labeled crazy, I was told I've always wanted to talk to people about this kind of stuff, but I never felt comfortable enough to do it. And that was like one of the bigger things I was getting from people was thank you for taking that step forward, because a lot of the times that kind of stuff just stays in the back of everybody's head and simmers there and never goes anywhere. And I think this kind of gives people a little bit of a segue into something different, expressing that.
So beautiful to have that support of each other. And then do you have I know you're busy with all your children and this book and these other books with Sarah, but do you offer any services to anyone else who does need that companionship and support? Or
Oh, I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit. Could you repeat the last question for me?
Sure. Do you have any other services that you provide for support for people?
Not really. I just started up a blog on my website just to kind of research little things that pop up for me that I think are interesting and share them with people. But other than that, I just work with Sarah right now. I think down the road that could be an option, but I find that the most important work right now is getting things down and written on paper and just getting that out there for people, because we're so isolated now. And I think reading is really having a revival, and it might be the most effective way to help people.
So true. Well, I mean, that's huge what you're doing anyway. So sorry for what else can we switch into your workload? Well, I will share the links for your blog and where to buy the books, so people listening can look in the descriptions of the video. But I mean, yeah, sorry, I don't want to add more pressure on. I think what you're doing is phenomenal, fantastic. I love it. I'm still fumbling over my words because I've just got whatever it is called when you're like not starstruck, but just in awe of both of you. I just feel so inspired of your journey, and it's given me so much encouragement. And I just admire you both so profoundly. So I'm kind of fangirling.
It's okay.
You're so sweet.
So humbling to hear people say this, because quite like a year ago we were just, you know what I mean, Sarah and I were doing our thing, wondering if this would ever really go anywhere, if people would ever read this, if it would ever make any sense for anyone but us. And when I look at what it is now, it's very humbling.
It's reached people in New Zealand and around the world, and it's so important, such a great time for this information to come out. And you're right, written words still have such power and such a great healing, as well as the spoken word. It's so important. I'm so excited for humanity because we're in for um, whatever you want to call it, the awakening, or evolution, or whatever. I can see how important it is to give people hope and a metaphysical perspective on the purpose of life.
I really think that is exactly what we're doing. So yeah, I think that people are really going to be looking for answers and to really get to know themselves at a deeper level. And that is what this will help people with.
Yeah.
Right. The answers are all there. People are so blind to the fact that they're truly right there. You just need to kind of close your eyes and quiet your mind and actually listen to what you're saying to yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I love it so much.
I'm actually, Joanne, I have a quick question for you. Was there a part in either one of the books that you personally related to? Did you find that that was similar to any kind of experience you had had in a past life, or?
This is my first time on Earth, but my walk-in has had many lifetimes. So I feel that the people who have connections to me feeling like we've had a past lifetime on this Earth, it's because of the walk-in. And as weird as it sounds, the walk-in is very passionate about this metaphysical work for his own reasons. So I feel like I have, well, I know I've had, one of my friends did have a life where she experienced the flood and she sensed me, but I now realize that our friendship was brought together because she needed to have that relationship with my walk-in and not who I sense as me. And I know it sounds strange when people think, well, how do you know what's you, Joe, and what's your walk-in? But I definitely know. I can feel it within myself. Not that I've got split personalities, because he's only a smaller essence, but he still needs to work through not karma as such, but he wants to experience the journey of my metaphysical work.
Do you know, I'm just out of curiosity, do you know how you got the walk-in? I'm just asking because sometimes my clients' higher selves will say, oh, they had that accident when they were 13 in order to incapacitate them for the walk-in, or the surgery helped with the walk-in. But sometimes it can be in their sleep. I was just curious.
He came when I was 15 years old, when I suffered profound grief, losing my grandmother. So he came in to help, to be able to make me question, there must be more to life than just this. What is the purpose of it? And I had to have those bigger conversations with myself back then, which then made me really curious. So when I was at university and studying, I got a Bachelor of Arts in Art History, Classical Studies and Religion. And when I wanted to scratch out religion, I wanted to understand how come there's all these different narratives, but yet there's some similar ones. And when I was looking at my art history, and all three of them, the classical studies, art history, and the religion, it's like a trinity of truth when you can scratch out the nonsense. And so with the religion was understanding how every culture and religion processes death. And I loved that it was a beautiful cycle rather than an end of a chapter and you're gone, that's it, one experience thing. So yeah, that's when I only understood or heard or knew about the walk-in after my first and second QHHT session as a client, because I had some questions about why was I hysterically crying when I would have conversations with Dolores Cannon. And yeah, so it was like wanting to understand more about myself. But I am so excited that Sarah and Jen, you together probably have this beautiful opportunity to explore your own lives so profoundly, more than ever, and more than other people. I get so excited that I know you must have so much fun and explore the truth of the world, and I still get so passionate and excited about this work. I mean, I'm going to live vicariously through your joy.
I love it. I just love finding things out and sharing it, especially stuff that would help other people. I just love it. Like anytime I find out a new secret or a new tip or something like that, the first thing I do is share it. So to be able to come and get all of this material and be able to share it, that is just what I'm so passionate about. So that brings me joy 100%.
Absolutely.
And I feel with the work I've been doing with Sarah over the last 2.5 years, it's really exposed to me that I've chosen in so many ways to have these very specific lives here on Earth. I feel that I've been here for a very, very long time, since probably some of the early days. And I feel that I've chosen to put myself into places that kind of witness history, that kind of have these moments where I see something that maybe not everybody else had a chance to see, a very different perspective to things that we have chosen to forget. So I always look forward to my sessions with Sarah, because not only does it kind of open my eyes to a different way and a different sense of history, but it kind of surprises me about myself and how I've just chosen to be in these places and how it's all fitting together for me. I know it's hard to explain who you are to other people and how things in your life fit together, but when I go further and I understand how all of this comes together, it really makes a beautiful tapestry. And I wish I could express more of that to other people. I just hope that other people find that for themselves.
So lucky. Yeah. Everyone's searching for questions about themselves. They don't even know how to really tap into that, to be able to get that clarification. So I think it's incredible that you are so brave to share your journeys, to be able to give other people just being aware that this is possible through these sessions. It's beyond amazing. Can you imagine if everyone had a QHHT session, how profoundly healing that would be for humanity?
It would be unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
I had found it went beyond healing in so many ways, didn't it, Sarah? I had wanted,
Yeah.
I had asked her if she could help me conceive another child. I wanted to have another baby. And I was told by my doctors, with this condition and everything, don't even try it. You'll die. It's not going to happen for you. And Sarah constantly did sessions with me. She helped me constantly through my pregnancy. And I had the most easy, effortless pregnancy, delivery. I gave birth to a healthy, beautiful baby girl. And I feel that it goes beyond healing. It really helps you tap into your truth of what you really do want in your life. If you really do feel, if you can look at it and see it for what it is, it could really give you what you need.
Well, that's a great testimony for QHHT. It's so true, because, you know, it would be great if people really could see this from somebody who once was a skeptic, and to see how it's changed and helped you in so many different ways. And I think it's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And like, Sarah, your journey of education to be able to be an incredible, I think you're the top practitioner on the world right now, helping humanity. And I just feel so honored to just know you as a friend, let alone know that you're here to help humanity. And I so love that you're supporting each other with this journey. That makes my heart just burst. I am still obviously fangirling, but I'm not even ashamed of it anymore. I'm just going to own it, because it gives other people faith and hope that they've got something really important that they need to share with the world as well. And it's not too late. It's so important to know our own truths, not just thinking, oh, maybe it'll help humanity, but profoundly help yourself. And I love that with the QHHT, the practitioners who are learning must do 25 sessions, or I can't remember what it is now. It's been a while since I was there, for free. And so anyone that feels really passionate about this work, that is blocking themselves because they may have a money block, or because of, you know, current financial situations, tapping out to your local practitioner is always going to be beneficial, not just for yourself, but for the practitioner. We grow with the work as practitioners profoundly. So it gives me so much joy and excitement to know that people are wanting to love themselves enough to get this truth out for them.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Joe. That's so sweet.
Oh, I just, is there anything else you guys want to share that you don't feel that is out there in public? I don't want to have any big spoiler alerts in your book, but is there anything that you want to, that you're really passionate about, that you want people to know?
Go ahead.
I think it's important to really to release the fear, because I think it's fear that's holding us all back. And if you can just focus on just letting that go in whatever way that you possibly can, I think your whole life opens up for you, that it's can be as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Fear breeds fear, and it just becomes, ugh. And imagine if Jen bought into the fear of people judging her, and that's stopping her with this book, and her growth. And, you know, we've all learned that it was, you know, she had to overcome that, and we're so proud of her for doing that.
Definitely. I feel that the experience we had recounted in the life I had right before this one it was probably one of the most important things that I realized throughout the course of it, was that this life that I'm living right now is the most important one, that I'm here to understand this information and to reinterpret it into words that could really relate to people around us, to understand it in a whole different way, and to remove it from that ancient kind of understanding and bring it into the modernity of what we need right now around us. I think the most important thing with that in the book was just being able to not feel that people were going to classify me as crazy, because in the life that I had before this, I tried expressing these ideas. I was able to come to this understanding through a course of interactions, and they thought I was nuts, and they removed me from my job, they lobotomized me, they brought me to a asylum, and ultimately I ended up ending my life because I was too progressive for the time. I was way ahead of my time there. And I believe now is the right time. And I think it's showing in so many ways, with being able to meet up with Sarah when the timing was right, with the things that have changed in my life while we were writing these books, and the way that my life has changed now that we've published them. It's just too coincident. There are no coincidences, that this is all part of some large, bigger gift that we've been given.
It's amazing. Do you feel that we have to live next lives to be able to heal from the past lives in certain aspects? Do you see that there is significance and benefit for that? I know that we get healed in between lives, but do we have to? I guess that's what. Help me out, Sarah. What am I trying to say here?
Well, I think sometimes you want that journey. So the journey maybe, and the purpose of that lifetime is to heal that life. Because I think everything is, you choose your lessons. Is that what you mean? Like, is it important to heal the next life? Like, is it important to heal your past life? Is that what you mean?
I feel like there's many ways that we can heal our lives. When we're not in physical, we can heal and have that. But I guess there is definite purpose for having to relive, be in the physical 3D, and have different experiences to be able to grow upon and expand upon, learning from experience versus just conceptually when we are in a different dimension of, we're just consciousness versus physical.
Yes, definitely. I think you said it perfectly.
I still feel like I'm a bumbling idiot. I'm looking at Jen looking all gorgeous, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to her. I hope I'm sounding cool. How ridiculous, right? Peer pressure on myself.
I'm having the same work over here on my end. You should. So I'm also like blocking 3 children from trying to enter this room simultaneously. So if I'm making this look good, then I don't know. I guess I'm getting some help from the other side right now.
And that's, we are constantly getting help, aren't we? Like everything we're doing has always been guided and supported by our spiritual teams. And this is fantastic when we just trust that the universe has us, and we are merely just living out the experiences that we wanted to and be able to sort of master them. And sometimes we want to master heavier experiences, and other times we, like it's a smorgasbord of fun and opportunities for us to experience. So life is fantastic because everything we're experiencing is growth for us. And I love growing. I love learning. I love expanding, except when it's my fat pants, and then I've got an issue with that.
I think in one way I relate to what you were saying, because I've asked Sarah this before, I often wonder what all of the QHHT healing and the past life healing is actually doing to me on such a level that what is my next life going to be like then? If I've worked this out and we've kind of checked that off the list and that's done, like what's on the forefront for us? What happens next then? And I think that's one of the most exciting things to look at, is like what this is actually doing.
I think so too. And I think like a lot of times people's higher selves say that when they're done, a lot of people are done on this earth, and then they're going to try something totally new with totally new lessons on a different planet.
We're
never done.
No, I've been told in multiple different sessions that there is going to be no more reincarnation on this planet. So this is our final, our final show, so to speak, for this planet, which is exciting because it's so exciting for so many reasons. But Jen, I had a question. It was amazing, and now it's totally gone out of my head. Damn it. Tell me something that you want to share with us.
Well, you know what? I think it's been interesting to the way that we receive the information for the books. I thought was very interesting. At first, it was kind of a puzzle that they gave to us, and I see it now. Sometimes I guess they're a little creative on the other side, but they gave us
yeah.
of my, I guess one of my earliest incarnations here on this planet. What the character I've called the Commander in my book, and in Sarah's book, he's known as that as well. And we first encountered him there, and we wanted to go to the beginning, and that was the whole thing, was let's go to the beginning. And they brought us to the beginning, and we were so confused at the time. But what we began to understand was the Commander was the main point of us beginning there. He was one of these star seeds that came to Earth very early on and began this seeding process that began this evolution of humanity that has just grown and grown and grown on itself. And we have truly pieced together, like I feel like it's a 1,000-piece puzzle that keeps growing as we put more pieces together. The minute we answer something and we get a good understanding, 10 more questions open up. So I can see how eternal this work would be, but I'm getting a really good picture of things now that we've kind of, I feel like you are too, Sarah, now that we have a baseline of kind of what we're looking at, we can fill the blanks in better, and we can expand on things too, because we're going to places in our sessions now I've never thought I would even be going there in any kind of a hypnotic trance, but we're going there, and we're all going to be in the
It's so funny. It's so great. It's so funny when Jen goes to one of these places that she's never heard of or never been to, and then I'll tell her after, that's a thing. I'm always telling her, I've heard that before. So it's not crazy.
It's just new. It's new. And I think I was purposely shielded from it my entire life, just to kind of experience it all at once in this kind of tremendous gesture of faith, really.
I love that. And when we read Dolores's books, I have all of Dolores's books, but I haven't read every single one yet. But you can see her journey and what she is learning as well. And that's phenomenal to be able to have privy information from her. Sometimes I still think, how did they let her even publish this? How is this still in access to humanity? This is gold. This is so powerful. And I see this with both of your work as well, is that it is, we're so blessed that it's so protected, that we get this profound information that is normally censored, and it's gone under the radar somehow. I'm getting full body tingles. And now I'm remembering the question I had for Jen. Because you've done so many sessions, how is your channeling now? I feel like you must have that doorway of your higher self as it's consistently open.
It is so easy now to the point where it almost gets a little like, all right, stop now. Let me go back to my simple human moments so I can just watch this TV show and kind of unwind. But I found the more we do it, the easier that channel becomes. It truly is meant to be effortless for us to do it. We've just gotten so out of practice with it over how many years, thousands, millions of years. Some of us have last used it or been in touch with that. So it's like going to the gym. You're going to hate doing it at first, but then you're going to remember you feel better when you do that.
I love the analogy of that. It is so perfect. Yes. And in terms of balancing all the information that you do know and still being, you know, the mummy, the mother, I don't fold clothes, but I know people that do. We just have big piles of clothes that we just rummage through. How do you find mastering that? This is a question for both of you, because I know you are both diligent mothers as well as amazing humanitarians. I mean, how do you even cope with all of that?
I don't even
Our kids are always interfering.
Always. Like, I don't even want to pan my computer right now to show you the unmade bed and the pile of clothes that's on it right now, or the kids that are probably duct taped by my husband somewhere downstairs just to keep them quiet. But I don't think it's important for any of us to really keep all of that together. I don't think that's what our main goal is. I think a lot of that is just superficial stuff to make other people think we've got it together. The most important
Totally.
to be with the people you love, to give them your attention when you can give them your undivided attention. And you also have to focus on yourself too. Don't forget yourself in all of this, and this identity as a mother or a father. You know, you have to remember who you are and make a little bit of time for yourself as well, even though that may be, 5 minutes a day. Do something for you.
Definitely.
Mindset of perception of balance. And I love that. You're so right. We still feel like we've got to be perfect at everything and be able to control everything. And the reality is we're out of control apart from how we react to our emotions and what we can control without smothering people and pushing our agendas onto people to wake them up and release that bloody fear that seems to be addicted for some.
Right, definitely.
There and all of that I think really needs to get more people need to get back in touch with, to not need to project that outwards and just be you, do you, be okay with what you're doing or not doing, or and
I guess that's when you have profound self-love, because you just accept yourself regardless of that pile of washing or whatever. It's I could do it, it won't give me much joy, but what I do gives me joy. So and Sarah, you're so right. When we keep hearing in sessions, humanity is doing really well. And remember that time we did that session and they said more people are spiritually awake than ever, but they would never share it publicly. They would prefer to share a video of themselves masturbating because that would be less.
Yes.
I blushed for about a week. That was so but it's
so awesome.
But it's so true.
So true.
People are embarrassed of spirituality. Why? Because they feel like it's linked to religion somehow. And they have this disconnect of the differences. One's man-made agenda, which is trying to mimic spirituality, but it's not quite hitting the mark. Whereas spirituality is this pure, unconditional, loving energy that embraces us and gives us the higher perspective and wisdom of all of the stuff we should release. And I just love this work so much.
Yes, me too. I know, but I feel like it's becoming more acceptable. I mean, a lot of people are waking up and looking for other people and wanting to talk about it. And so it's so different, even from a year ago.
Well, the shift of consciousness really happened in 2018, where everyone who sort of was still asleep got a big shake. It sounded like you ladies. Did you find out the metaphysical purpose of that hurricane in 2017?
Oh, yes, we asked about it. And I think what we got was a lot of people were calling it to us. And there were so many, benefits in its cleansing effect. I mean, it was devastating, but it benefited a lot of people as well. I mean, it was like a whole cleansing. That area just needed to be cleansed. There was a lot of energy, I think they were saying too, that the earth had to shake off basically.
Yes, and that was the same thing. They gave us a little more on that, that the people who were affected, not just by our major hurricane, because there was a series of them that year. We had Maria, we had Michael, there were a whole bunch of hurricanes that came through, and wildfires, tornadoes, and they said that the earth changes were happening because people who had passed in the Atlantis and Lemurian destructions had never been given the chance to rebuild their lives, to rebuild their homes after that disaster. And that was something that was coming back that they wanted to fulfill in this lifetime, was to get that second chance to rebuild their lives and to reclaim what was theirs that was taken from them.
And I loved that so much, because it just drives that point home that what you want, what you are seeking, is also seeking you. And it's so important to do all the things that you want, because it will tie you karmically, you know. So you have to do what it is you want. You have to be who you are. It's important.
And it's not always $100,000 check you're trying to like project towards you. Sometimes it's something terrible that's going to help you in ways you could never understand. Right?
Yeah. Well, they always say that they've said in I think 2 sessions, we're not your sugar daddies.
Yeah.
Because they say sugar daddies don't have boundaries, and they have boundaries for us, and they know what is good for us and what is bad for us. And so when we're constantly asking for things that are going to give us empty treats, that's not for our highest good. So I know lots of people that want profound healing or changes of their lives to help them, and that looks like destruction. That looks like clearing out a lot of stuff, which to get the growth and the healing, you have to sometimes experience profound catastrophes. It's marvelous how it all is so purposeful from the bigger perspective, even though while we're going through it, it feels pretty challenging.
Right.
And I felt like that was a reoccurring theme, and the things we were uncovering in our sessions and what we wrote about in both of the books was just, unfortunately, you need to have that destruction in order to create the clearing for what it is that you truly want, that will serve us better, whether or not you have an opinion of whether you like that or not, or that's exactly what you want.
And it's kind of like the shakeup right now. All this turmoil right now is shaking people up, and they're going to wake up, and things because of that, it will be better than ever.
If only we could read our life contracts.
Right?
I think we're way too human to do that at this point.
Yeah.
I think we try to rip them up. We try to manipulate our way out of them.
Yes.
Negotiate, exactly. We'd bribe, do whatever to get out of it, and we'd end up having to come back and do it again at some different point in some planet's evolution. So.
Right.
And when you get information from sessions about how we should do things, and then we listen to it with our conscious minds, and we're like, really? Or maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're not really seeing things from my perspective. And every time I always sort of resist their information when it comes to my personal life and what I should be doing. It always kicks me in the bum, because always they're correct, and I'm just like, God, I'm so not the smartest cookie in the world, because I should be doing it faster. How I should just be accepting, and I am better at accepting what they want now, but it's taken some time for that resistance to get over myself.
I totally understand. I completely understand. It's so funny, because you probably know, Joe, but so many people's higher selves will say that one of the most important things for the client is for them to relax. Like, stop trying to do, relax. You should make relaxation one of the most important parts of your day. So it's when a person is told to relax, it's hard, or to do something for themselves. It's hard to do it.
So then
to make that time.
They will message me, and they're like, it's not working. I'm relaxing and nothing's happening. I'm just sitting here and I'm waiting for them. And I just can't fully relax. And I think we're such active relaxers that we have to be going a million miles an hour doing 17 things all at once to kind of somehow have a balance. Right. And don't you love, Sarah, how when people have never listened to sessions and yet they always get the same information, the same content, it's so fantastic when it's just those repeated informations from people's higher selves and it's consistent, and it just gives me so much joy because I just, it validates the work so profoundly that I wouldn't even bother wasting any of my energy or time doubting their information now.
Oh, I know, because they don't know one another, and it's always the same. It's like relaxation, drink more water, go outside, and meditate. It's always the same. Those things, always, all the time. What can they do to improve their life? And it's those things.
Yeah.
Oh, and spend more time with others and share. Yeah.
Oh, sharing is caring. Do you recall, how would you summarize your life purpose and lessons for this lifetime? This is a question for both of you.
Well, I know I'm here to uncover things and share it because I know this because that's where my passion is.
Truly, I agree with her on that. I feel that a lot of what I was meant to do was to get this information out and to finally get this into a physical form and to get this out for people to read and to understand and to try to help them with this. But to balance that out, I also feel that there's a lot in my current reality, in my current life right now, that is continuously connected to what happened in this book and to the roles that I had there. And I see how it plays out in my everyday life. So I know that I feel like by coming to terms with what happened at that point, it's improving my life in so many ways here as well. So it's definitely been a journey.
Yeah. It feels like this lifetime you're having now is what they kind of, say is, the best version of you, as you are so empowered with yourself now, so in love with yourself, so proud of everything you have experienced, having that profound understanding of the purpose of all of it, or getting there.
Yeah, it's a chance to do it right.
Yeah.
I feel like my child from that lifetime has come back to me in this lifetime. I feel I have so much that I need to make right with people.
Powerful.
That it gets a little emotional sometimes. It gets a little overwhelming when I think about it, but I know at the end of the day that what we recounted and what we understood about the way that Lemuria was destroyed and the way that Atlantis was destroyed was way beyond my decision making and how we ended everything. So I don't want to spoiler alert anything for anybody, but once you read it, I think you'll have a better understanding of how this is kind of an emotional thing to encounter in a current life.
When you found out
Yes.
about your role, how hard was that to come to terms with all of that emotionally? Like I just know that so many people just love you and want to hug you and just give you that big cheerleader. Oh my God, the power of one is incredible, and look at you go. And oh my gosh, what an incredibly strong, brave soul you are for humanity. And this respect, this profound, ridiculously in love with you respect that everyone who reads the books has for you. I mean, whew, it must be, I love that it's not, you don't turn into ego based with this. You're so still humble and beautiful with this. I still am coming to terms with how on earth you incredible, amazing person could still process this and still function.
I feel that a very strong need to make things right. And I know that the time is now and the time is upon us. And I don't want to waste that by going a vain route with anything. I don't think it's necessary and I don't think it's serving. I think the most important thing to do is to let other people know they're not alone in these thoughts, these beliefs, these dreams, these sessions, these memories, and it's something. It's something for all of us. And I I want to make that right with the people that I was supposed to lead in that lifetime and with the people that I was supposed to protect as well.
I think you're so strong because I know experiencing and learning about that role could have given many people an opportunity to have gone into complete overwhelm and not be able to process this. And I just, that whole unpacking and experiencing and learning and growing with it. I mean, I can't even comprehend your journey with learning all of this, but I just love you so much for taking the bigger perspective of this and still being able to help others. I think that's beyond amazing.
Thank you. I truly, I feel from the bottom of my heart your truth in that, and I thank you for it.
Yeah. I just love you. Let's have a date.
Yes, I need one. I haven't had one in 10 years.
We could.
Yeah, I wanted to share some with you. I thought you'd find this interesting because you've read the books and you understand a little bit more. But not too long ago, my partner came to me and said, you know, I have an opportunity that I could begin a new job over in a different place. And if it's something you're interested, let's check it out. And I said, great. What are you thinking? Where are you thinking of going? And he said, Hawaii. So we're actually moving to Hawaii in 6 weeks. And I'm moving from what I feel like was the closest point to Atlantis here in the Florida Keys, where I feel like I have kind of been stuck for most of my life. And we are actually moving to Hawaii, to the Big Island, which many people have told me, who have written to me, they believe that's one of the last parts of Lemuria that never really went underwater. And in many ways, I feel like publishing this book has allowed me to have that pathway back home.
I just want to cry with joy for you.
I don't want to act like I'm a native Hawaiian or anything like that. I don't want to have it come across as that, but I think in the eternal sense of home, of completing that lifetime.
No, I get that. I get that. My whole body is electric. My whole body is super excited for you. I want to cry for joy because when you do get there, it's going to be so profound, this massive, it's like a love bubble, but it's going to, I'll talk to you later about it from what I'm sensing, but it gives me great joy. And I am so excited for you. 6 weeks. That's amazing. That's amazing.
The other option we had, which didn't work out, ironically, was New Zealand.
Oh my gosh.
Would love to have you.
That date could have been happening.
Yeah.
Next time we move. Next time.
Yeah. Well, we can do a Zoom date. I am not fussy.
Socially distant dating. It's great.
How appropriate. What do you sense that you're going to feel and have when you go to Hawaii and put your feet in that sand? How do you feel you're going to experience that?
I have a lot of feelings about what it's going to be like getting over there, and I almost don't want to build it up so I'm disappointed when I get there by any reason, but I have this feeling I'm going to get off that plane and step foot on the ground and just breathe a huge sigh of relief that's been on my mind for 50,000 years, truly.
Oh, wow.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I truly can. I wish I could make the next 6 weeks go faster, and I probably will from thinking about it so much. So we're going to go with that.
Well, time goes so fast these days. You'll be there before you know it. And you're going to be above me because you are Hawaii and New Zealand. So interesting and different. Like we're closer. We're going to be closer. I like that. We're going to be closer. Yeah, I'm curious if what you guys have explored, if you have explored any of the information about New Zealand. I must have another conversation with you. How are we going for time? I could talk to you forever, but Sarah, are you okay for time?
Oh, I have to go at 7, so it's 6:48 our time here.
Okay. Well, let me know. What else that you're finding that is coming to your awareness that you can explore and share with us?
Could you say that one more
Me?
time?
Is there anything else that is coming up for you guys that you would like to share with us? I know the audience is very open to hearing everything that you are willing and able to share.
We're finding so much.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how to narrow it down, but it's just amazing how I feel like the universe is giving us all this information. Well, one thing I will share is we have been uncovering this other planet. And what's really funny is that other clients have been coming and talking about the same planet. And they don't know anything about this planet. Actually, I never heard anything about this planet. I don't think I've ever read anything about it either. So it's just interesting how the universe works to bring information to me and Jen. So it's just really fascinating. I find the whole divineness of this just so fascinating because, every time I have doubts, I can just literally think about all the things that have happened that there's just no way to doubt them. I mean, it's just totally set up by the universe.
Exciting. And in terms, and this may be private, so you don't have to answer, but do you get a sense, Jen, that that's where you're going to be going after the shift?
To that, oh, well, interesting. We have had a lot of sessions where we've delved into that. I'm here for a while. I feel like while I was one of the first in, I'm going to be one of the last out kind of situations. Not because I'm unable to, but I feel that I am anchored here for some reason, that I'm kind of here to see it out, to see it through, if that makes sense to anybody. That's just kind of what's come across in sessions. And know that I have a big role in this new earth, in this new creation, this new place, this new understanding of, home for all of us. And it's deep. It goes really deep. I feel like I could talk about it for days, and I don't know if anyone would even understand what I was saying from what I've understood in these sessions. So I'm trying to find new ways of kind of writing it down and expressing it, but I'm here for a while.
Oh,
Whether or not through incarnate form or through some kind of different intermediate.
so exciting. So exciting. I mean, I find this work so fascinating. And you're so right. This lifetime is the most important one for us to be able to learn. And the people that are in our lives are so important. And I love, Sarah, that the universe is giving you more content just to back up, to support Jen, so she feels like it's consistent information. Not that you have any doubt at this point, but it's just nice to have that reassurance, right? That it's the same consistent stuff. I think that's beautiful.
It really is. And I just feel so helped by the universe when I get this consistent information, just stuff that I've never heard about from other people. It's really exciting.
But you help yourself, Sarah, by having open mind to everything and not having any assumptions of of information. You are so open to everything that you still ask big questions. Whereas I feel like some people can easily think, okay, well, I heard this 5 years ago in a session, that must be the case this day, and I'm not going to ask. You're constantly asking these big questions, and you're not afraid of what other people think of you because you're still seeking the truth.
Well, I remember what it was like when I was waking up. I remember I bought an Abraham Hicks book. I opened it up and I was so mad that I threw it out, and then I rebought it. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to accept this, to open my mind, to give this a try, And ever since then, I feel like I just question everything, and I don't have any bias. I need to see it all the way through, I think.
This is why the universe is constantly rewarding you and guiding you and gifting you these incredible experiences. It's not a coincidence. You've worked so hard to get this content and to be open for all of this. And, I'm so proud of you.
I think it's funny, in one of our sessions earlier on, Sarah had asked me the question while I was under hypnosis of like, why now? Why is this so important now? And I think the answer was because it's the first time in thousands of years that we're not going to be burnt alive on a stake for saying this stuff to people. Take that opportunity and run with it. truly.
Right.
And that's the problem why so many people are still limiting and blocking themselves from the truth, because they have past experiences of the truth killing them. And we just had a session with, a president, Lincoln, who told us off for saying, the truth's not going to kill you. Get over yourselves.
Oh, I love it.
But
exactly.
we have to have empowerment of self to be able to know that we are allowed to share our truths and not buy into the shame or the peer pressure that we assume is going to happen, or social media, a dislike. It comes up so much in sessions, isn't it, that it's time to share our truths. And so many people have physical issues because they're not sharing with themselves, let alone with others.
Yeah, I think a lot of people find it
Oh
embarrassing.
my gosh, I know.
Embarrassing. Yeah.
One of the things a lot of people have written to me about was their memories of being one of the animal people in Atlantis and having all of these experiments done to them, the humiliation of it, the way society treated them and then used them. And I think that's something that, these traumas stick with people to this day. And why do something or say something that's going to put you back into that position? That becomes the rationality of it all. But what if that's the only way you become free of it?
So true.
I know, there are so many.
So true. And with those,
What did you say?
with the island that was, because I met Sarah when she was in Miami last year, and we learned about the island that was coming. And when I had a session with a person in the group that night, she wanted to know where her place was in that lifetime. And then when I had I think it was my second session, I wanted to also know, because Sarah said we were all there somehow, a part of it. And it was, my subconscious was there in a ship, and we were collecting the children off the island before they were dehydrated. And so as you were saying this, I realized that's part of my motivation, is to help people and save them from death. And even though I death is a beautiful cycle and it's important, and I guess this is my role now, isn't it, to help people. I don't want people to be left on the old earth if they don't need to, if they need to be awokened and help. And I feel like, so I'm having a self-reflective moment, and I don't need to share it with you guys while I'm unpacking that.
No, but that makes a lot of sense. No wonder you're helping so many people and sharing and just helping people to awaken. There's
a little bit of disimbalance because I'm so passionate about it. I probably push people a lot to do their inner work. And so the group that I'm supporting on Telegram, I know they have amazing potential, and sometimes they're wanting to be a little bit stuck. So with love, I'm talking to you, Eva. She called me out on being a little bit of a tough love, and I'm not sorry about it, because I know these people's souls need this help, and I just love them so much. I want to be this triggering point with much love to them.
And I think it's
right.
Yeah, I have to leave pretty soon, but yeah, I think it's so hard when you see people suffering, or that there's something that you can do that might trigger them, but it's so hard to force somebody awake. They just awaken on their own terms, and all you can do is just reach out your hand, and let them know that you're gonna be there if they need you. Maybe try to steer them in a good direction, but it's ultimately their path.
Absolutely. I think our friends and family see our empowerment and our growth, and that encourages and inspires them to look at their maybe stuck patterns. And we're not trying to force people to do anything, because we should be focused on our own inner work. Final messages, my beautiful friends. I'm just going to call you my friends now, because I know Sarah is. And now, Jen, you're adopted.
Definitely. I need new friends. I'm moving, so I'm losing all my old ones. It'll be good to have someone to talk to virtually as well. Final thoughts, huh? Do you want to go, Sarah?
Let me think. A final thought really is is that we're not alone. If you have these memories of being in Atlantis or Lemuria and you thought for years that you were crazy, you're not. We're all back here again. We chose to come back here at this point because the time is right and we're rebalancing our karma. We're choosing things differently. So everything will be okay. Release the fear.
I feel right now is a very isolating time for people. I think this is a big time to look inwardly, to truly try to begin to examine these things, because I know I personally would have never sat and written this book had this pandemic not happened. I would have never found the time. I would have never allowed myself to quiet my mind enough to actually sit and get this project completed. And I think there's a real lesson there for people that even though our lives may not be what we want them to be right now, use your time wisely, go inward, begin to understand yourselves better, look for these messages, look for these connections, look for these dreams and these understandings and these things that you've been pulled towards, and try to make sense of them. Try to see what they are for you. They may seem like a jumbled mess outwards, but when you start putting them on paper and going deeper and deeper, you'll see you've been given a puzzle that's a gift as well.
Incredible. Again, you're just such beautiful gift to humanity. I just want to thank you forever. And a big group hug. And I know that everyone's going to just love hearing from you and be so grateful for your wisdom and service to humanity. You're just fantastic.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity. I truly appreciate being able to express this to a wider audience and to just let people know what the story is, what we've uncovered.
Yeah, the truth. Fantastic. Thank you, ladies.